How's it going, everybody? This is Novakast back with another video for you guys, or at least more of a reaction thing. And I wanted to quickly go over, I guess, something that IGN posted when it comes to Dead Space. Now, I guess this is a segment of a 40-minute discussion about some of the stuff that's going on with the new Dead Space remake. So really excited. So this will talk about environment, lighting, etc., or at least updates to the demo. So without further delay, why don't we go ahead and get started? Which, by the way, in the 40 minutes, some of the things they're doing is pretty impressive.
So let's get straight into it and talk about the Dead Space remake.
Alright, let's get started.
So we're gonna dive right in with the classic dark and claustrophobic headbanger hallway. Shown here on the screen is what Dead Space looked like in 2008. Although revolutionary for its time, let's see the design process and how it looks now. Roman and Phil, can you show us more?
Yeah, the game, above all, like, when I first, just to give you guys a heads up, I first got introduced to the, like, Dead Space, around, oh gosh, I want to say close to 7 years ago. 7 or 8, give or take. And this was because a couple of my brothers were huge fans of the game. So I was curious to play it, and when I got to play it, I was just so intrigued about, the environment, the world, the danger. As I'm yawning and I need my coffee. Ow. Whoops. But yeah, it was an impressive game. So again, it's cool that they're remaking it.
Yeah, so actually one of the first things that we did was we went back to the legacy assets for the game. So we wanted to recreate the proxies, the full ship, the Ishimura, to recreate it. And then our art team went in and started an added level of details to the environment so that we can have a higher fidelity and start seeing what can the game look like on next generation consoles. So we went in, added
This is
details,
so cool.
then started working on the shaders and the materials to try to have that metallic
Okay.
that we were after, and just like to get the right materials out of the environment. From there, we did like a first pass at lighting to try to get the mood right, because the atmosphere of Dead Space is pretty much on lighting, and then on VFX to try to get like that full picture of what are we after, what are we trying to achieve for the game.
That looks cool.
And it looks great on a few stills, but it actually looks way better in game.
So what type of engine did you guys use to create this? And what graphic card are you aiming for?
So, great question, Jackie. We're using Frostbite as our dev engine, and we're going for, obviously, high-end graphics, high-end fidelity, and our focus is on lighting, VFX, and just overall audio experience to make sure that we would deliver the right atmosphere, something that was key in the original game.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know we have a real live functional build currently. Can you bring that up? And this again.
Oh, that looks cool.
So yes, that's super early, like
Oh, that
end of pre-production
looks really freaking creepy. I love it. I love it.
and build. We're just starting production, so it's really far from.
I love the flickering effect. I think right now, I love the lighting. I love, like, if this is what it's gonna look like, this is looking really good. Where you see, like, the lighting, it's dark, it's dim. There's some kind of mist or something that covers the bottom of the floor, which is really cool. And then in some areas you'll have, like, I'm assuming probably, the flickering light, which is really cool.
But one thing we really wanted, and you touched upon it, it's really wanted to make sure that we nail the ambience, and not only the look, the lighting, the VFX, the fog, but also nail that ambience. Give you the feeling
That looks awesome.
you're in the Ishimura, you're inside these dark corridors, and not only it's
Oh,
magic,
and
it's actually in game.
that's what Isaac looks like?
So that rig, that armor, it's not the original, it's a new one, it's still work in progress, it's gonna be improved a lot, but it gives a first taste.
Okay.
That's Isaac Clarke in the remake. And look, here we are.
Wow.
I mean, the lighting, everything looks phenomenal. The smoke,
It looks
This
so
is-
good.
very much what we should be expecting at this point from next generation graphics.
This looks really
It's
good.
Dead Space.
This looks really impressive.
I think.
So it has been almost 13 years, since the original game came out.
Has it been 13 years? Fuck. Jeez.
The original Dead Space. Why is this remake happening now, and what exactly is this remake? Can you elaborate on that?
So, one thing that's important for us, and that's why it's for PS5, Xbox Series, or for PC, is that it's not about one thing. Like Dead Space is a super strong experience, and so it's really about improving on a lot of different elements to create that original but still new experience. Whether it's the new lighting, ray tracing, whether, like Phil mentioned, it's about audio, whether it's improvements to gameplay and
This is really cool.
synergy, or as you're gonna see maybe later, improvements on dismemberment and how you actually do damage to the enemies. Whether it's about having an unbroken and continuous experience, it's about doing a lot of improvements and how we enrich that experience. And so that's really what that remake is about.
Yeah, because we have been looking at Reddit, we've been looking online, and there has been some people in the community noting that the game already stood the test of time. This is still considered to be quote unquote a perfect game.
Yep.
And so, like
It is a perfect game. Like, the first game itself is so good. Especially with, like, the minor details that people won't notice right off the bat. Especially when it comes down to, like, one of the Easter eggs where, I think it was, like, if you take the first letter of every chapter, it says something, I think it said something along the lines of Dead Space or Nicole is dead. Like, again, it's just the minor details is so good. And it's great that they're remaking it.
like we show, like I mentioned, what's really important for us is to capture that original ambience, that original experience.
I'm kind of wondering if they're gonna.
Experience before.
I'm kind of wondering if they're going to redesign some of the necromorphs too, to an extent. Like, make them look a little bit more gruesome than they did before. I mean, they were already, disgusting looking, but at the same time, I'm kind of curious.
And that's really the age we're after.
Yeah, and I mentioned it earlier. Like, we want to make sure that we're honoring the legacy. That's one of our production pillars that we have for the game. But at the same time, we want to make it relevant for today. Like, the games have evolved a lot since the original Dead Space came out. From obviously graphics, which is like the easiest way to see how it changed, but also as far as systems.
Easiest necessarily to
Well, no, not easiest. That's for sure. But as far as systems, as far as just opportunities for gameplay and how to leverage it, that's something that we think that, given the evolution that Dead Space had within its own franchise, with Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3, but also how the franchise, how just the game industry evolved outside Dead Space, there's opportunities for us to make a better, a more complete experience, let's say.
Yeah. Just blown away at how good everything looks from just even that small glimpse into the engine.
Yeah, I'm again. It looks nice. It looks really fucking nice. At least the glimpse that we got to see.
Feels like, I know you're saying it's really, really early. It's really, really early, but it's just this is. My goodness.
It looks amazing.
It looks like when you want to really kind of put it down the line. So that's
Oh, he's got a freaking
We might keep
Xbox in the background,
So,
and I find that funny because I still need to get a Xbox Series X, but right now I am rocking my freaking PlayStation 5. Freaking love that thing.
Well, can you please now show the stat comparison of the original 2008?
Yeah, there we go.
The current project.
It's the same. It looks like the same corridor.
Yeah, that's a massive difference. You know, you remember your favorite game in a certain.
Also, it might just be me, but this corridor looks longer than this one. Again, it might just be me. Also, the armor looks really fucking nice. The armor looks really good in that.
Way, and you think that it looks great, but then when you see improvements, it's wow, big difference, big difference.
Yeah, it looks longer.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see just how far we've come in terms of technology, right? Like it was only 13 years ago, but it seems like we've gone leaps and bounds where we're able to kind of take all the kind of small details we're seeing on them.
Yeah, true. Especially with, you know, like so far with a lot of games, we've really been able to kind of push the envelope when it comes down to detail. Heck, probably when it's working, Cyberpunk was probably one of, like, visually appealing. Again, when it's working and there's no problems, which I'm so glad I finished that game. But I guess if anything, a better example would be Ghost of Tsushima, where the game itself is really, really fucking beautiful when it comes to every little detail that you can come across.
The newer model of Isaac is really fantastic.
What are your current goals for the remake exactly? How are you going to honor the legacy of Dead Space? Because that is huge shoes to fill. Bar is high.
It is definitely, and like the team is actually extremely passionate. We're referencing a lot to the original game, having a lot of looks at it, and like I said, by making it relevant, we're looking at different games and what they did, and see how can we bring it back inside Dead Space. So, like one of the example is something that we're trying to do is to have an unbroken experience, to make the game fully seamless. And how can that create an experience where the players even more immersed within the game than was previously the case?
And
That game was immersive.
Big objective that we have for that game is that from even before the start screen till the end of the game, the rolling credits, to never have any break of experience, to have that full and uninterrupted sequence shot. And so that, of course, has a lot of impact on what we're building. And just starting with how the Ishimura and the structure of the game is built, because we don't want any cut. So there should be no loading. How the full ship should be walkable from end to end seamlessly, etc. There's a lot of elements that start to unfold when you start to think the game. That lens of really unbroken immersion.
And like really from the get-go, like we gave ourselves an objective. Like if possible, could we have players wanting to take the controller and play for 12 hours straight, never putting them down, not even going to the bathroom?
That would suck. I hate to go into politics or, like, you know, look a little rant, but it sucks for countries like China, because they're trying to implement that whole only 3 hours a week thing. If somebody in China got this game, or any game that's like 50 plus hours, yeah, you'd be on that game for freaking ever. Good lord.
Just because they were so immersed within the game.
And I think a game like this is, and I think a game like this is, at least last time I checked, about 20-30 hours. I could be wrong. I'm just thinking on the top of my head, because I think that's how long it was to beat the original Dead Space.
That's going to be a back-of-the-box quote. You can't go to the bathroom on the back-of-the-box. I appreciate it. But I also heard you talk about, you know, how you want to double down on, or at least really focus in on what makes Dead Space fantastic around the horror aspect of the game, too. I'd love to hear more about that.
Okay, yeah.
So, of course, horror it's one of the main pillar of Dead Space. And it's about a lot of elements in Dead Space. So of course, the story, it's about that. It's that iconic survival horror story. You're alone, trapped on that hulking spaceship. But the main element for us was to get the ambience right, and so that's why we started with elements like, for example, the banker corridor or the workshop that you can see in the teaser, is to make sure that we capture the ambience. It's about more than just the gore or the monsters or the story of the character. It's really about the Ishimura and how isolated and stressed you feel when you're inside that ship. And so that's really an important pillar for us. And so that's why we want you to be fully immersed and to never be able to pull out from that.
The pacing was so good. Like, it was a master class in pacing, the original Dead Space, to keep you on the edge of your seat all the time.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that we challenged the team early on. How can we make sure that we don't break that recipe, that we don't break the right amount of nothing happening that's going to actually increase the level of tension when you're playing. And so far, the team's been taking that challenge and doing an amazing job at it. And it's always something that's at the back of our head.
Also, I just noticed, like, I'm listening to the guy, but I just noticed, like, look at her background. I'm gonna put my mouse right there. In the background, she's got the marker. I just noticed that as the guys are talking. Also, the guy's got a PlayStation 2, and I'm assuming that's. I don't want to assume. I think that's just a regular PC, but either way, yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool detail. I know I'm kind of like derailing this, and it's almost over anyways, but yeah, I just thought that was funny. I just realized that.
Every review that we're doing, and they're delivering amazing work on it.
It's one of the things, is how can we keep players constantly on their toes, and we might have some surprise coming on that, and how much you can be surprised when you're doing something like that. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so I want to go to a moment where I think when it comes down to the lighting environment, I mean, what they're showing us so far looks amazing. Like, and it's early production too. So, again, I love the lighting. It looks dark. Stuff like the light flickering is really cool, as well as this mist or fog or smoke that will envelop the floor of the ship. That's really awesome. So, really excited for this game when this finally comes out. But till then, I'm probably going to keep up with any other things that pop up. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Truly appreciate it. If you guys can, please leave like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, links are in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Rob Novakast signing off. Have a good one, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.